Ladies and gentlemen, students, dreamers, fighters of all ages, I want you to say it out loud with me, even if it's just a whisper in your heart. I'm going to win. Winning starts in the mind. True victory begins the moment you believe in your worth, your vision, and your power to change your life. You know, one of the greatest misunderstandings about success is that it begins outside of you, that it's about money, opportunity, connections. But the truth is, winning starts long before the world ever sees your progress. It begins in your mind. If your thoughts are small, your actions will shrink to match them. If you tell yourself you're unworthy, you'll sabotage the very opportunities meant to elevate you. The mind is not just where belief lives, it's where belief is built. Every day, you're either reinforcing a vision of victory or reinforcing fear. And the most dangerous thing isn't someone else doubting you, it's you doubting yourself. Psychologists call this self-efficacy, your belief in your ability to shape outcomes. People with high self-efficacy don't necessarily have more talent. They just refuse to tell themselves, "I can't," before they've even tried. And philosophers like Epictetus knew this centuries ago. He said, "You become what you give your attention to." So if your mind is a garden, what are you planting? Doubt or discipline, fear or focus? This is where the real game begins. Before you write the book, build the company, pass the exam, you have to own the identity of someone who's capable of doing it. Speak to yourself as the person you're becoming, not the person you used to be. Because the mind is the first battlefield, and when you win there, you've already changed the outcome. Let that truth take root. Every setback is a setup for a comeback. Your failures are not the opposite of success. They're the fuel for it. What most people call a failure, I've learned to call a signal, a redirection, sometimes even a gift. But here's the part most folks miss. Setbacks are not evidence that you're unworthy. They are part of the curriculum of becoming. See, we've been trained to avoid failure like it's a disease. But failure, in its most honest form, is feedback. It tells you what didn't work, yes, but more importantly, it invites you to ask why. It sharpens your strategy. It builds resilience not as an idea, but as a muscle. And you can't build a strong muscle without some resistance. Psychologists like Carol Dweck call this the growth mindset, the belief that your abilities can evolve through effort and learning. It's the opposite of shame, it's curiosity in action. Philosophers like Nietzsche took it even further, suggesting that difficulty isn't just something to endure, it's something to embrace, because the person you become on the other side is far more powerful than the person you were before. So when life knocks you down, don't just ask why me, ask what is this making of me? Because the comeback doesn't begin when things get easy. It begins the moment you decide that your story doesn't end here. Remember this, your failure is not your identity. It is your invitation. Take it and rise. Discipline is the bridge between dreams and achievement. Passion will get you started. Discipline keeps you going. Dreams are beautiful. They are the language of possibility. But dreams by themselves don't get you across the finish line. What gets you there, what turns the invisible into the tangible, is discipline. Discipline is the quiet choice you make when nobody's watching. It's the decision to show up for your goals when the excitement has worn off. And let me tell you, it's not always glamorous. There will be days when you feel uninspired, days when the reward feels far away. But that's the exact moment when discipline becomes more powerful than motivation. From a psychological perspective, discipline creates what's known as delayed gratification. The ability to resist the immediate in service of the important. This is what separates a life that reacts from a life that builds. Philosophers like Aristotle believed that excellence wasn't an act, but a habit, that who we are is a result of what we do repeatedly. And it's important to understand, discipline is not about punishing yourself. It's about honoring your future self. It's how you demonstrate respect for your own potential. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, you are casting a vote for the kind of person you are becoming. You are placing another stone in the bridge between the life you dream of and the life you are walking toward. So ask yourself, are your daily habits aligned with your highest hopes? If not, shift them. Your dream deserves more than wishful thinking. It deserves your devotion, purpose over pressure. When your goals are rooted in purpose, no amount of pressure can break you. Pressure is inevitable. It finds us in deadlines, expectations, responsibilities, but the people who rise under pressure, who don't just survive it but transcend it, are not necessarily stronger. They're anchored, and that anchor is purpose. When you know why you're doing something, you gain access to a different kind of endurance. You stop measuring your progress by applause or approval and start measuring it by alignment. Alignment with your values, your vision, your truth. That kind of clarity doesn't just keep you going. It protects you from being pulled in 1,000 directions. We live in a world obsessed with performance. The metrics, the likes, the outcomes. But purpose reminds you, you're not just here to perform, you're here to become. That shift from proving yourself to expressing yourself is transformational. Psychologists refer to this as intrinsic motivation, the drive that comes from within, from meaning, not from pressure. Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor and psychiatrist, wrote that when a person has a clear why, they can endure almost anyhow. That's the kind of purpose I'm talking about. One that doesn't vanish when it gets hard, one that deepens. When the pressure mounts, you need something deeper than applause to keep you grounded. You need purpose, because pressure fades, but purpose endures. So ask yourself, am I chasing the goal or honoring the reason I started? Purpose will always give you the power to keep going when everything else says stop. Surround yourself with builders, not breakers. Your environment can either nurture your greatness or crush your confidence. The people around you matter more than you think, not because they determine your destiny, but because they influence how clearly you see it. Energy is contagious, so is doubt. And if you're constantly surrounded by people who diminish your vision, who only speak from fear or limitation, you will start to shrink without even noticing it. Every one of us is in construction. We are building our identity, our habits, our future. But just like any structure, the materials and the environment matter. Builders help reinforce your foundation. They challenge you, but with love. They hold you accountable, but never make you feel small. They see your potential, even when you're struggling to remember it yourself. And then there are breakers. They may not even mean harm, but their presence pulls you away from your path. They whisper limitations into your dreams. They project their fears onto your progress. Not everyone who smiles at you is rooting for you. And not everyone who criticizes you is trying to break you. Some just don't have the language to understand your direction. Philosophers and psychologists alike have explored this deeply, that identity is relational. We come to know who we are through the mirrors around us. So choose your mirrors wisely. If you want to go far, surround yourself with people who see far, because sometimes the company you keep is either a ladder or a ceiling. Decide which one you're standing on. Your win is bigger than you when you win. You open the door for someone else. Your journey becomes someone else's survival guide. There's something we don't talk about enough when we speak of winning, and it's this: your victory is never just about you. We live in a culture that often frames success as a personal achievement, a solo pursuit. But real, lasting success always creates a ripple. When you rise, someone else sees what's possible. When you overcome, someone else finds the courage to begin. You become a living example, not of perfection, but of possibility. That's the power of representation, and it's more than visibility. Its impact, its legacy. It's the moment someone who looks like you, sounds like you, comes from where you come from, sees you winning and says, maybe I can too. Psychologically, this is known as social modeling. Albert Bandura showed us that people learn not just by instruction, but by observation. Your persistence teaches, your integrity teaches, even your healing teaches. Philosopher John Stuart Mill once wrote that the worth of a life is measured by how much it contributes to others. And your win, when it's rooted in truth, purpose, and effort, becomes an offering to the world. So don't play small. Don't hide your progress, don't second. Guess the impact of your becoming because someone is watching. Not with envy, but with hope. And your courage might just be the evidence they need to believe in their own. Your win matters, not just for you, but for everyone waiting to see what's possible.